Hello and welcome back to Cinetastique. My name is Mark P. Cinezik, and in this episode we're going to be looking at The Masters of the Universe, a brand new film coming from MGM Amazon, or Amazon MGM Studios. They are producing a brand new cinematic version of the classic 80s cartoon. June 5th, 2026 sees the return of the 1980s cartoon megastar He-Man in Amazon MGM Studios live-action film Masters of the Universe. Warning: this story will contain spoilers, rumors, and judgments. The script was written by Chris Butler and is being directed by Travis Knight and has a budget of $200 million. Masters of the Universe has been in development hell since 2007, and over the years it has passed from director to director and from studio to studio, as all of Hollywood seems to have struggled to bring this film to life. It was first set to be directed by John Woo back in 2007, but the project failed to be greenlit. Sony Pictures Entertainment took over the rights from Warner Brothers in September 2009. In 2010, Sony hired Mike Finch and Alex Litvak to write a new script. John Stevenson was announced to direct, but then in late 2012, John M. Chu was in talks to direct. In 2003, Chu stated that the film would not be campy, but an origin story. By October, it was being reported that Chu was out and Terry Rossio would write the script. The film was set on Eternia, the central world upon which the original cartoon took place. By January 2014, no less than 7 other directors were announced to be the frontrunners to direct Masters of the Universe. By April, Jeff Wadlow was announced as the film's director and that he was rewriting the script. By April 2015, Christopher Yost had been hired to rewrite the film. In 2016, MacG was announced to direct, and that he would oversee another rewrite of the film. However, by April 2017, MacG had left the film, and the script was to be again rewritten, this time by David S. Goyer. By December that year, Goyer was set to also direct the film. By now, anyone following this ridiculous production journey would have been forgiven for thinking that Masters of the Universe was never going to get made. It was clearly stuck in production hell, with no one being able to agree on a direction or script for the project. The revolving door of directors, writers, and lead actors would continue through 2018 and into 2023. Finally, after 16 years of dwelling in development hell, Masters of the Universe would find its final home when the project and rights were bought by Amazon MGM Studios in November 2023. By February 2024, Travis Knight replaced the Nee brothers to direct, and Chris Butler was brought in for yet another rewrite. This, finally, was the end to preliminary development, and the Masters of the Universe officially began pre-production. The cast for Masters of the Universe begins with Nicholas Galitzine as He-Man Prince Adam, Camila Mendes as Teela, Idris Elba as Man-at-Arms, Alison Brie as Evelyn, Jared Leto as Skeletor, Marina Baccarin as the Sorceress of Grayskull, Hafþór Julius Bjornsson as Goatman, Johannes Hokkur Johansson as Malcolm Fisto, Charlotte Riley as Queen Marlena, James Purfoy as King Randor, Kojo Atta as Triclops, and Sashia Lamata as Susie. The casting of this film honestly does not thrill me. Jared Leto, I think he's too young for the role. I see Skeletor as an older character and feel like that role should have gone to someone with much more gravitas. Remember, while the original live-action He-Man film bombed, the role of Skeletor, played by Frank Langella, did not, and went on to become a much beloved version of that character among the fan base. The character of Man-at-Arms has been race-swapped for the actor Idris Elba. At least with Idris, we know he'll be able to bring the character's gruff, battle-hardened nature to life. If he does as well in the role as I suspect he will, that's a performance I'll be looking forward to. After 16 years of development and practically every writer in Hollywood, the great and epic storyline they seem to have finally decided on puts Prince Adam on Earth from the age of 10 for the next 20 years of his life, before being drawn back to Eternia to take up his power sword and assume his destiny to fight Skeletor and defend Castle Grayskull and all its secrets. Great. So according to this plot, we're probably going to get 90% of the film set on Earth, which explains the Susie character, Prince Adam's BFF, no doubt, and then 10% back on Eternia for the final fight. This is great for Amazon and MGM, who will no doubt enjoy saving money on this cheap, idiotic plot that will, I guarantee you, piss off the entire Motu fan base, who should, by the way, be the primary audience of this film. I know studios like to pander to the most general audience, but this philosophy has never worked for genre filmmaking. Why? Because general audiences will not immediately care about a film based on an 80s cartoon set in a high fantasy science fiction setting that is essentially butchered from the outset. What studios need to do is respect the lore they are trying to bring to life, please the immediate audience, who will in turn create so much buzz about it that the general audience will become intrigued and be brought in. But Hollywood sadly does not work with such logic. As you might have guessed from the preceding turn, I'm not all that thrilled with what this film seems to be shaping up like. Masters of the Universe has officially started principal photography, and the Amazon MGM has released the first image of the film, a close-up of He-Man holding the Sword of Power, which does at least follow the design of the cartoon original. Roughly, anyway. That does give me a little bit of hope, as it is such details that I will enjoy about the film. By taking the film to Earth, this film does make the mistake of its 1987 predecessor starring Dolph Lundgren. When you see just how many rewrites took place of the film, you realize just how clueless Hollywood is sometimes. This film should have been seen by Amazon as the beginning of a film series. This film obviously would be an origin story, but should be set entirely on Eternia. This film is set for release date of June 5th, 2026, and only time will tell what kind of film we will be getting. Well, that was our episode. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a fair bit of information about it. What are your thoughts on the upcoming feature film? Are you looking forward to it? Are you not? Let us know in the comments. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe on this video. All bit of support is very welcome.